How nice is it to see Deshaun back out there yesterday?
It's real nice. You know, he's throwing the ball real smooth. Looks like he's coming off of his shoulders with a lot more ease. So it feels good to have him back out there.
Think it's trending toward him being out there Sunday?
Who knows? Man, you gotta ask for that question.
I figured you were a little closer to the scene, so I'd ask you.
He's closer.
What's this kind of been like the last, I know we talk every week, but this month of not knowing who's going to be quarterback and just not having your guy out there? Just how hard has that been for the whole team?
I mean, it's a challenge just like any other challenge that's presented to us. You know, obviously we got to adapt to any situation that's presented to us, but yeah, it's hard. I mean, we know that Ford is our guy. We know that he's a playmaker and all those things, so we would love to have him out there every chance that we get, but, you know, unfortunately the cookie doesn't always crumble that way. You know, injuries are a part of the game, and we're just waiting on him to get healthy.
Do you have any words for P.J. Walker after the way that game in Seattle ended?
Do I have any words?
Yeah, did you say anything to him? Or?
Oh yeah, I mean we are constantly communicating, you know, about what we see, about some of our errors, about some of our successes, and we just try to go out there and make everything work. So you know, yeah, we talked after the game about some of the plays for sure.
And so I noticed when you guys were breaking the huddle before the goal line, you said something to him, and then on that play he threw to you. You were covered. The pass was incomplete. What did you say to him as you're breaking the huddle?
I don't remember which play you're talking about.
And it was before a field goal. Down near the goal line.
We played a lot of plays in the game, so I don't remember that one.
The receiving corps is going to look different after the trade deadline. Your thoughts on that, and could somebody like Cedric step in and give you guys a boost here the second half of the season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously during this time, you know, a lot of trades happen. Yeah, it's always the next man up mentality. We believe in the guys in our room to step up and make plays for us. So yeah.
We haven't seen Cedric really since training camp, but you've seen him practice. You know, what are your thoughts on how he's looking, and do you feel like he's ready to step into a bigger role?
Yeah, I mean, since Ced has got here, I think his practice habits have been real good. He's been making a lot of plays, especially in the jump ball situations. He learns fast. He's diligent in his approach to the game, to studying, and all those things. So, I mean, it just has to translate to the game, right? That's it.
What was your feeling when DPJ got traded when you found out?
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, the trades are just a part of the game. You know, I've been traded twice, so I know, you know, how the process is. But yeah, I was obviously sad. You know, we communicated about that. I texted him, told him, you know, good luck and things like that. I'm gonna miss him. You know, we went into battle together for like a year and a half. So, you know, I consider him my brother for sure.
How challenging is that to get traded in the middle of the season, like you were from Oakland to Dallas?
It all depends on the person. It all depends on the situation, the scenario. You know, some guys look forward to that happening, and you know, they try to turn over a new leaf and feel like they could be much better in the new situation. So I would say it all depends on the circumstance.
Amari, how much do you think the quarterback uncertainty has held back this offense?
I don't know. It's a hard question to answer. I don't quite recall right off of the bat our record. What are we, like 2-? I don't know.
4-3.
No, I know our record. I'm saying with Deshaun out and guys having to step in, I don't know the record. But I think you know, we can definitely improve on the offensive side of the ball overall. You know, we've been turning the ball over a lot. So, I mean, regardless of who's back there, the goal is still the same, especially the number one goal, and that's to not turn the ball over at all. So that's my answer.
Amari, even with Deshaun in there for the games he's played, you're the only receiver who has a touchdown. I mean, one touchdown, 7 Something you never saw coming.
I mean, obviously, as a receiver group, you want guys to be lighting up the scoreboard, scoring every game. But again, that's just not the way the cookie crumbles. You know, I think we've done a lot of great things on offense. We had a lot of successes. You know, third down conversions, things of that nature, first downs. The drives don't always end with the receivers scoring, unfortunately.
So what's it like getting signed clubs from Randy Moss, and what are you going to do with them?
I'm going to sell them. No, I'm playing. Nah, I got to obviously keep them, put them in my office at home or something like that, frame them. Definitely going to show them off for sure.
Amari, when you look at Arizona, what do they present to you that's unique that makes it a challenging defense to pass against?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, they're very opportunistic on defense. They're always making plays in the pivotal part of the game. Like, even though they're, I believe, 1-7 or 1-6, 1-7, they've been ahead in almost every game that they've played. You know, they've only not been ahead in one game, so they're very competitive, and you can see that from the defense. They're making plays all over the field, keeping the team in the game. So it's going to present a challenge to us for sure. We know that it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a four-quarter game, so just got to go out there and seize the moment.
And those be the tougher games when you're playing a team that doesn't have a really good record, but when you actually watch the tape, they're playing hard, they're playing well in a lot of respects, but without getting the results.
Yeah, I mean, generally in those type of situations when a team isn't, you know, when a team is playing okay, but their record isn't really showing it, you can kind of pinpoint those, you know, sudden failures. It usually comes down to, you know, a couple plays in the game where they just didn't take advantage of the moment, and that's what I'm seeing from them. So, you know, they can always just flip that switch on us, so we got to be prepared for that for sure.
Is Buda one of those safeties you're always keeping an eye on out there?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's a playmaker. You know, he has zero regard for his body, seems like. But yeah, I've played him a couple times. He's always making plays. He's always all over the field, both in the run game and in the pass game. He can really disrupt the game if you allow him to. So he's definitely one to look out for.
You guys preach taking care of the ball. You guys preach taking care of the ball. In practice for the offense, what does that look like for you guys when you really want to make sure you're not giving those turnovers over, especially when you're preparing for
Yeah, you got to drill it just like everything else. You know, we preach ball security, especially in the receiver room. We say, you know, ball security always starts at the catch point. So as soon as we catch the ball, we're cognizant of, you know, taking care of it until that whistle is blown.
Good.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Appreciate it.
Is it strange not knowing who the quarterback's going to be in this game?
No, I don't think it's too strange. That's the NFL. I think we just got to come prepared and execute our assignment and our jobs, and we should be good.
How challenging, Bill, is it to prepare for two guys who haven't taken a single snap this season? I mean, obviously Kyler, there's tape on him, but he hasn't played this year, so you can't, even with him, you don't know what he's yet.
Yeah, I think we're kind of familiar with Kyler and what he's capable of and the type of player that he is out there. Yeah, definitely a little bit more difficult watching the other guy. But like I said, just got to come prepared and study their receivers and see what they like to do, and I think we'll be good.
Denzel, A-Lock talked yesterday about like needing to shore up the run defense. I guess, what do you think needs to happen there in your feelings on that?
For the run defense? I think we all just got to execute our job, just attack our points and continue to play physical and get guys down. Don't let everybody stay in their gaps and make tackles. We can't miss tackles, and that kind of hurt us a little bit, but just got to execute that.
If you guys don't have Greg, how much of a blow is that to your secondary?
Yeah, Greg's a great player, so it'll definitely hurt with we don't have him. But guys are going to step over. That's Cam or Mike Ford, and they're definitely more than capable of going out there making plays and locking their mans down. And so it's just next guy up if that's the case, and I think we'll still be good.
How hard is it to play that, that nickel spot, and how well has Greg played?
Say it again, sorry.
How difficult is it to play that nickel spot, and how well has Greg played it this year?
Yeah, it's difficult, but like Greg, he's been playing great. He's been playing well and locking his man down and making plays out there. But like I said, those guys behind him are prepared to step up and take his place if need be.
Cam's been out there a little bit so far. What's he shown you since he's been?
Yeah, he's made plays out there as well. Almost had a pick six. Got to find a way to bring that ball in. But Kansas City's been playing well out there, doing his job, communicating out there on the field. And like I said, if Greg's not there, then I'm sure he'll be more than capable of taking his place and filling his role in.
How important is it for you guys to look beyond Arizona's 1-7? You know, it'd be easy just to say, you know, they're 1-7. This is a game they should win. But when you actually watch them, they've been in pretty much all their games and they play pretty hard.
Yeah, it's the NFL, so there's not a bad team in the NFL. So we can't take anybody lightly. We got to go in and do our job, like I said, and execute and take care of our business. So regardless of record, it's whoever wins that day.
Denzel, you had mentioned the defense. What have you seen so far on film from James Conner that shows why he's top 25 in rushing?
Is he playing? Is he playing? Yeah. I don't think so.
How do you think?
Good.
How do you think just overall, the last couple of weeks, you guys in the secondary have been playing, and how do you put like Sunday's game behind you?
I think we've been playing well, but we're not there yet. There's still things that we gotta fix and get better at. But I mean, we're just trying to get better week in and week out, and just find those things. Watch the tape, see what we gotta get better at. We could have done a lot better job on that starting fast to begin with in that last game, and then finishing on that last drive against Seattle. So, like I said, there's things that we got to work on, but I think we'll get there. We're on a good track.
Like in the meeting room, and you know, going through that, you know. We hear so much about his, you know, fiery personality and always trying to get the most out of you guys, and you know, pushing your buttons and things like that. So what's it been like this week, coming off a tough loss, you know, working through those corrections?
Yeah, we had an intense meeting coming in after that loss to Seattle, which is expected. I mean, he expects a lot out of us as well as ourselves. So, I mean, we got to go out there and be who we are and execute and do our job and make plays out there. So. Just can't get complacent, and just gotta continue to work. Good. Thank you.
Yesterday, Kareem had credited online and talking about how solid the run game is going. What does that mean, you think, for you and your teammates who have transition from block match out to 3 more?
Yeah, we're trying to work. There's a little spell in there where we weren't running the ball well enough, and we're trying to get back to that. And we kind of have a 3-headed group, you know, with Kareem and Ford and Pierre out there, and they all kind of do their own thing well. But last 2 games we ran the ball pretty well, and we're trying to keep building on that. But you get used to those guys, you know, our line's back, and obviously Jack's still hurt. But the guys that have been starting are back and working together, so it's been good.
Have you experienced that before? Going like a 3-headed snake when it comes to everyone?
I mean, we've always, you know, obviously when Nick's here, you know, we've had Nick and Kareem the last few years, so that's a pretty good 1-2 punch. But now we're getting, you know, 3 guys in carries, and Dear's had to step up a couple times for us last, you know, couple years. So I think running back's one of those positions where you get guys in there, but I think we're getting, you know, we have 3 guys that legit could get, you know, 8 to 12 carries a week and kind of spread out the love so they kind of stay fresh and have different things they're working on.
Joel, if you guys have to do without Juwan this week, first of all, do you know how well has he been playing and adapting to that pass blocking role?
Yeah, he's, you know, hopefully we get him out there. I don't know the extent of, you know, how he's feeling and stuff, but he's done a really good job, and I think that's his strength is pass blocking. He's done a really good job coming to that role. He's had some tough challenges going against certain guys, but he's really stepped up to it. And I think if you watch the last few weeks, his run game assignment has improved, and his understanding of, you know, the NFL and the details that it takes to be successful has continued to improve. So obviously we want him out there to keep improving and working, but you know, he has that raw talent to be as good as he really wants to be. So we'll keep pushing him, and hopefully he keeps taking steps and improving.
Joel, this is the, I think, 5th game now where you're not real sure who your starting quarterback's going to be. How taxing has that been on you guys on the offensive line when it comes to preparing, not knowing definitively who you're going to be blocking for?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'd rather just be like, yeah, Deshaun's out there, you know, we're ready to roll with your starting quarterback. But coaches talk about being resilient all year, and that's kind of what we focus on the O-line is like, we can control what we can control and focus on that. Poe really does a good job whenever I, talking about something, he's like, we just got to control what we can control, and I think it's a great point, because we can only do what's called. We can only do block for who's out there, and that's kind of been our mindset since we've had this injury issues.
And that way, it's got to be difficult, but is it that difficult because you have a job to do no matter who's back there? Like, isn't that kind of the focus?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we're going to go out there and we're going to have to play 70 snaps of football no matter who's playing quarterback out there. So it's kind of been the O-line's mindset, and we, like we said, control what we can control and really just go out there and focus on our jobs. And like, obviously everybody wants Deshaun to be back when he's ready to go. But that's really been our mindset the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Joel, guys were saying after the game that you guys work the screen game all the time in practice. So is this the most like you've done that under a coach or a coordinator with Kevin? And then just how what goes into a successful screen?
Yeah, so since Coach Stefanski's been here with Bill and AVP, we always have a screen period, and it might not be full speed, but we always have some sort of screen period pretty much every day, especially Wednesday, Thursday. We're out there running around. Even if I'm not practicing, usually I'll jump in there just so I get the timing down and stuff. But it's really, timing, understanding who's out on the screen, finding your landmarks. And now we can't cut, so it's really, and they can't cut us, but it's really pressing infield, in space, trying to get bodies on bodies out there. But the main thing is the timing aspect. If you can get out when guys are getting out and no one's downfield, I think that's when you have the best opportunity. And I think the scheme-wise, we have a bunch of different schemes, so we're not just running the same scheme over and over. But it does take time, and we've been working on it for 4 years now, trying to get the screens. And I think since Kevin's been here, we've had a very good, one of the top in the league. So it's something that we want to pride ourselves on and keep working and showing that we can be, one of the best screen teams in the league.
Your evaluation of Nick Harris's route running skills?
Pretty good, he hasn't got a ball yet, but we, we want to get him. We want to get him one here. No, he's doing a great job. I mean, that's a guy that was a starter. Really since he's been here, he's practiced like a starter because JC was a little bit banged up when he was here, and then obviously he's gotten hurt a couple times. But we think of him as our sixth lineman, and for him to get on the field and kind of take that role as a fullback, but also be able to be our backup center is huge because not very many teams put a fullback on the roster. So it's been good for him, and we love having him out there. We can run the ball and we can play action off of it too.
You want one crack at that spot though?
When I was a young guy, I was real excited. I'm like, give me the ball, and now I'm just like, I'll just stay in and block. I've lost my edge on that a little bit.
Did you get excited because it looked like they were going to try to go for him in the end zone? Would you get?
I would get excited. I didn't know what option he was on the route. Sometimes we put in a play and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 run, and then Nick's your fifth option. You know what I mean? So there's a little bit of a tree there. But no, I mean we had Kendall Lamb score a touchdown I think 3 or 4 years ago when he was playing tight end. So if him or James or someone gets a touchdown, I think the O-line will get pretty excited.
Has there been a tackle eligible play since you've been here where it was supposed to go to the tackle, but the play never materialized?
Oh gosh, I'm sure it has happened. You know what I mean? I remember the Kendall one worked. I think that's the only one we've thrown to a guy. We've had plays in for guys before, but I think that's the only one that's been executed. So I'm sure there's 1 or 2 in there that weren't called or weren't executed.
Do you have a favorite big man touchdown?
Oh gosh. Well, Kendall was the one I was part of, but any of those ones where the guy's wide open and he's kind of waiting for the ball, it's floating up there. You see that if he's a true athlete or not, if he's coming down with it.
Joel, with James Hudson, I mean, the coaches in the training camp praised him and how hard he's worked. Just how do you think when he has to step in, and if he has to step in this week, how he handles that kind of role?
Yeah, it was big. He hadn't really got too much extended time this year, but obviously last game he stepped in and I thought he played very solid. And he's been working. He knows he has to be kind of our big tight end, right side, left side, do it all as a backup, and he stays ready. I talk to him a lot, just being like, stay ready, be focused. As a backup lineman in this league, you have to truly be ready to play at any moment, and you don't know when it's going to happen. And he's always locked in. He's always like, I'm ready. And this week we were talking. We weren't sure if Jed, was going to be able to go, and And so I was like, all right, let's go. If you're ready. And he's like, I'll be ready. And then he ended up having to go on the right side. So it was a little bit different than the reps he got in practice. But no, his work ethic and Coach Callahan, Coach Peters, John, all working with them to make sure the backups are ready to roll.
You guys were able to get 155 yards from the three-headed monster. Just how are you guys feeling better with your run game right now?
Yeah, we've been stressing, we've been working it, especially. You don't have your quarterback one in, you know what I mean? You want to try and lean on the run a little bit. But it's better. Like I said, we were bottled up for a couple weeks there, but it's been waking up a little bit, I think, the last couple weeks, and I think we're seeing what Ford's good at, what Pierre's good at, what Kareem's good at, and we can kind of use that to our advantage.
The Cardinals, I think, are 8th in sacks with 24, and 11 guys have at least one. So even though they're 1-7, I mean, they can really bring it, right? And what do you guys have to watch out for there?
Yeah, it's actually pretty impressive to put on tape how hard they go and how hard they rush. And like you said, it's not one guy, making all the plays for them. They got guys with, we looked at the sheet and it was like 4, 3.5, 2.5, 2.5. You know what I mean? Like a bunch of guys with multiple sacks. And I think it's how they play off each other. They run a lot of games. They kind of have a couple fronts that they're moving around a lot, where you have to kind of ID who you want to block. But it's really an impressive effort group. Like the guys just keep going, and sometimes you're like, oh, they blocked them up pretty good, and the guy will just keep turning the corner, step up into a sack, and make those plays. So it's they work well together. Is one of the things I've come across, and I think any team you play in this league, I've been in those situations where we haven't been great, but teams are fighting for wins, and everybody's always playing for that next game or that next contract.
It's a lot like Philly.
They do a lot of things like Philly. Like there's some Philly stuff that we've taken, but they're pretty multiple. They're probably the most multiple fronts we've seen this year. They're a base 3 down, but they have all types of different looks that they can give you, and they kind of do a weird thing with their Sams and Wills that they're a little bit off the ball sometimes, but they're still, you got to account for them in the protection.
Joel, this might be kind of big picture, but do you guys talk about as a group like how proud you are of the fact that sometimes injuries happen and you've got to just like plug in pieces, and as a group you guys have been really steady throughout the course of the year?
Yeah, it's I think Coach Callahan does a great job of stressing to us like this is our, like every game we know who's going to be the first center in, the first guard in, the first tackle in, who's going to be up, who's going to be down. So there's always a stress of like, hey, you have to prepare for these positions. And I think it's a credit to the guys and the coaching that they're always usually pretty ready and they understand what they're doing when they come in the game. But it's something you don't want to talk about where like, oh yeah, O-line, people get banged up, but it's one of those tough positions in this league. It's NFL, but I think, we've done a good job of that, and it's really that next man up mentality. Thanks, guys.